Welcome into the 55th episode of the Cleveland Sports Realm. That's right, 55. Remember 55, Kevin. Big Alex Mack. Hell of a center for the Cleveland Browns.
Heck of a center.
So we'll do the 55th episode in honor of him. Now, before we begin the 55th episode, let's do some housekeeping here. We are in a new studio. Producer Derek has relocated, so when he's got all the supplies and his command center is relocated out to Elyria, that means the podcast is now based out of Elyria too. So that's where we are now. And
Elyria Sports Realm.
Yeah, it could be. The EC.
No.
So anyhow, we're out in Elyria, new studio. So just shout out to producer Derek. I want everybody to know how hard he worked to put this together out here and make it happen for us. And we appreciate him still producing us even after his relocation. Second big thing here, producer Derek and myself and Kevin are all going to be going out of town. Kevin and I are going out of town to watch Shedeur Stander's first start. And producer Derek is going on a cruise, I believe, out of Florida, Bahamas.
Bahamas? Yeah, he's going to the Bahamas.
So we hope he has a nice vacation too. So as a result, this is being recorded Monday.
Yeah.
After the Browns lost to the Ravens. So
roughly 24 hours after the loss, like just about spot on.
Yeah, exactly. So in case you live under a rock, a certain somebody played yesterday and the entire sports world reacted to it. We're going to be no different. We'll get there. And, if you've been a follower of the podcast, you know that
where each of us stand.
Exactly. You know that there's very different beliefs in the room. So this could be interesting. But we're going to get there. But let's start with the overall game. And then we'll obviously get to what happened, and we'll go expound from there, if you will. Overall, I thought the Browns' defense was phenomenal yesterday. Yeah. And I do want to say the Baltimore Ravens, credit to them for the innovation that they used to win that game. Everybody in the entire world who was watching that game all over the world, coaches, players, fans, every single person except the 11 men on the field and the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, for the Baltimore Ravens, thought that was a tush push. It was not. It resulted in a 35-yard touchdown. I'm not faulting the Browns because they loaded up all 11 men right in there.
Yep.
Mark Andrews does a spin move and outruns the only person who was back, which I believe actually ended up being Carson Schlesinger, to the end zone. Now, let's talk about Carson Schlesinger. Kevin, he was incredible yesterday.
Yeah, he was unbelievable yesterday, just adding to his Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. And we're seeing now a lot of national recognition for Carson Schlesinger. And I saw now he's the favorite on all the betting sites, too, for Rookie of the Year defensively. So, and deservedly so. He's everywhere out there. He had another interception that he was able to tally on to the season total yesterday. And, a couple more TFLs. I don't believe he had a sack. I believe those were all Miles yesterday.
They had one that was not Miles, but
okay.
Overall, yes, between Schlesinger and Miles, I do think, and quite honestly, I'll say this, no matter who's playing quarterback, and we've seen now 3 of them, it is sad that the offense is as inept and awful as it is, because this is I believe, an AFC championship level defense. This defense is incredible. I thought the secondary played really well yesterday. Lamar, being there, you could see things up top where my tickets are, where I sit. And being there, Lamar didn't have a lot of open, receivers. They pressured the hell out of him all day long. The back end, the front end, the middle, everybody was working. Devin Bush with a pick 6.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this briefly before we got on, on this podcast. Again, housekeeping, this is Monday evening we're doing this.
Yep.
So more of an instant react, if you will, to the game. And
I think we've still had, like I said at the beginning, we've had like 24 hours to kind of digest this too. So it's not necessarily instant. I think I've kind of sat and stewed on what I was thinking post game and whether I became more extreme in those beliefs or not.
Yeah, well, which you did. But so I also thought, they played an outstanding, they had an outstanding game plan to contain Lamar. Now, I thought for the most part contained Derrick Henry outside of that one big one he broke off, and they had the big Zay Flowers play.
Yeah, and that was just about all that Zay Flowers really had that game. I know he had another catch or two, I want to say, but he just kind of had that big chunk at the beginning of the game, and then was kind of kept under wraps.
And I also wanted to say shout out to Andre Schmidt, because it was windy down there yesterday, and he connected perfectly on all his kicks.
Yeah, he's really been great ever since that Bengals game,
opener.
man.
He's missed, I think, two or three kicks since then. That's average for an NFL kicker. That's probably below average to miss only 3 kicks. So the Browns.
You mean above average?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Browns have done a very good job, I guess, in finding a kicker, and I was very unsure about it, because I was a big D-Hop guy.
I wanted him gone after week 1. I'll be the first to say.
Oh, so did I.
Yeah.
I was like, out of here. See ya. And
he's actually become one of those kickers now that when he goes out there, like, I'm not like, oh my God, this is like I actually feel pretty confident when he goes out there. It wouldn't like shock me if it swung left or swung right, but like I don't expect that to be a frequent.
Well,
so when he goes out there, I'm actually kind of relatively confident.
And even yesterday being out there, the wind was howling, and especially when he connected on that 45-yarder in the dog pound, I was like, okay. I mean,
yeah,
the kid's kicking in the elements, and that's pretty impressive. I think what I'm going to chalk it up to at this point, it might be fair, is opening week was probably just rookie jitters, and that's just the only way I could see it.
Yeah, and honestly, it's week solid. 1. It's week 1. Everybody's 0-0 at that point. Like, it is a huge game. You're playing at home. You feel the crowd's energy, the optimism potentially for a game winner or game tying field goal, and yeah, I mean I think the jitters were absolutely enforced for him. I think you could absolutely attribute that.
Absolutely, and then I also want to say Corey Bojorquez just continues to be one of the best punters in the NFL.
Dominant.
I mean, and that's the second straight game that I have been at where he's received MVP chance from.
Would you say he's a top 3 player on the team?
There was a guy yesterday.
I think he's probably at 4, maybe 5.
Sitting behind me who said, I don't think we have a better player outside of Myles Garrett than Corey Bojorquez.
I mean, Denzel Ward, and then you're maybe talking Batonio, but I mean,
Schlesinger?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say already. I mean, I saw Ari Meirov had tweeted out not only should he be the favorite for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, but that he might even be looking at potential first team all pro votes. So it's like, yeah, I mean, Carson Schlesinger is an absolute animal.
Absolutely. And again, and I think, and this is where we can transition into who, but I think they're both responsible for it. That'd be Dylan and him. They did not score an offensive touchdown yesterday.
Right.
That can't happen in 2025 in the NFL. And that to me is full 50-50 blame. That's on Gabriel. That's on Sanders. That's on both of them. You both played. I understand you're rookies. You cannot not score a touchdown in 220. This is not the 1985 Bears, okay?
Right.
One of the greatest defenses of all time. Especially where I really got bothered is you cannot have that huge special teams play, and the special teams was good yesterday, and they really must have got to work because we obviously all know what happened in the New York Jets game. It was an atrocity. Big play yesterday. I think what happened is they put a lot of starters on special teams yesterday. Schlesinger was playing special teams. Grant
Delpit, I've noticed, is just about on every special teams unit.
Fannon's on kick return, I believe. There's a lot of starters on special teams, and that's, I mean,
it's not uncommon to have a few.
Unless your name's Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward, I think you're not excused from playing special teams on the Cleveland Browns anymore, which is the way it's going to have to be, because we saw when they had actual special teamers out there what a disgrace it was, what an atrocity it was. You get that ball inside. I mean, you have all the momentum. Devin Bush has, a pick six in which I got to give like the entire defense credit. It seems that they were all willing him to get in the end zone on that, and it was a great play by Bush. Play. Awesome to be there. I was jumping up and down, as was everybody else. We were celebrating, and we were thinking pretty positively at that time. And then you get that muffed punt, and you don't score a touchdown. And honestly,
well, and that's kind of where you have to realize with this team, if you're being given that field position and you still can't make anything out of it, really, like, how is that going to instill any confidence in your team that you can do anything to support them?
Right. And that, that was a disgrace. And, I know that I was really mad about that, and they got the 3, and it just kind of felt like a letdown. And it was like one of those moments where you thought to yourself, okay, because that was before, or that was before the Devin Bush pick 6, because you thought to yourself at that point, you said, okay, you could go up 13-3 here, you get 6, and then Devin Bush, hypothetically's pick 6 happens, you're up 20-3, and you're in great position. They go up after the pick 6, 13-3, because they don't get anything there. The offense is an atrocity. They don't get anything. And then what happens? You end up 13-3, and you only score 3 points the rest of the game, which, again, falls on both of them as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's get to it. Dylan Gabriel gets slammed down, and can I just say this? Like, can I start this out with, going to the game yesterday, I am truly convinced there were folks there who were there just in case what happened. I got down there. I shout out to my friends Anthony and Zach Herman, who got me into the Science Center tailgate for the best price in the world, as well as my brother. We got to enjoy that, an indoor tailgate when it was cold and windy. Can't beat that. Also that close to the stadium. And walking in there, I see a lot of, there's been a lot of Shador jerseys all season, but it was elevated yesterday, the amount of it. And I thought, and there was a lot of people who were just like, today's the day. Like, you're hearing people say it. You're walking around the stadium before the game, and there's signs, there's banners. I mean, and you just kind of, you feel it. Like, you feel like at least where the fan base's mind was. And when I saw all that, I thought to myself, Dylan Gabriel better have his best game, or else he's going to hear it. And he did. And I know you pointed this out. Obviously, people who listen to this podcast know where I stand. I can't stand Dylan Gabriel. However, Kevin did bring a good point to the table. He's awful, but it does suck in your rookie year. You're hearing that amount of boos. And I'll fully admit, I was part of it. When he misses those easy elementary level completions, it's hard not to boo him.
Yeah, this goes back to what we've talked about before. I mean, he was an overdrafted quarterback, short lefty that never really made sense to draft to begin with, but at the end of the day, like, that's not his fault, and it's also not his fault that you drafted, potentially the most popular player in this past draft. You could argue him or Travis Hunter. And then you drafted him 2 rounds later at the same exact spot, or same exact position, I should say. Like, the kid never stood a chance in this city. So, he's halfway through his rookie year, respectively, and he's already hearing this amount of boos. Like, I'm disappointed with how the Browns put him in this position, quite frankly. And then right now, obviously, with no veterans in that locker room either, like, Dylan Gabriel was destined to be horrible.
Well, the one thing I'll say is, and this leads me, this is our transitioning point before we get to him in great detail, and that's Shador. But I don't blame the fans at all, and I also have to look at the Browns, because the football and the marketing sides were not on the same side with Dylan Gabriel.
I blame the fans a little bit.
I don't.
I mean, it's them reacting to it, is it not? I mean, you told me on the drive here, you told me there were kids in front of you that when Gabriel went down were praying that he was concussed. I mean, we're talking about a kid that's halfway through his rookie year.
No, that was wrong.
This is different. This is different than when Deshaun got injured last year, when the Albatross got injured last year. We're talking about a serial predator with all those charges against him. Like, yeah, I didn't support the booing of him, but that's different than booing a 23, 24-year-old kid halfway through his rookie year.
Now, the thing that was interesting about that is nobody, besides those high school kids in front of me, and they were in the wrong, I'll give you that. Besides that, nobody did realize that Dylan Gabriel was hurt in the stands.
That doesn't change the fact that they're still actively like, oh, maybe that's the hit that gets him out, and we get to see Shador.
Well, but those are 4 kids. Nobody else around me said that. Those are 4 high school kids. I was in high school. I didn't know anything. You probably didn't either.
I did. I knew a little bit.
All right. So you think. But anywho, so I also blame the Browns marketing and football strategy, because everybody who covers the Browns for a living, whether that was Daryl Ryder, Mary Kay Cabot, Scott Petrak, the list goes on and on. All the beat writers who've covered the Browns for what feels like an eternity all told us that Dylan Gabriel looked horrible in training camp. Dylan Gabriel couldn't complete passes in training camp. Dylan Gabriel was awful in training camp.
They also said that Shedeur looked amazing, and then look what happened Sunday.
And so then what happens? You get the fans, you feed into the fan hype. I was absolutely part of that hype and still am to a degree. And then you have that, and then you have the coach coming out and basically defending Dylan Gabriel every step of the way. But on the marketing side of things, they're selling Shedeur jerseys left and right. And so your marketing, your football aren't on the same side. Your marketing team is undermining your football.
I mean, we all knew that this was a marketing move when they traded up for him.
And so, therefore, to me, I blame the Browns coaches. And now let's get to Shedeur, because if everybody who's paid to evaluate thinks that somebody looks better, then that somebody should be ahead of it. It doesn't matter where they were drafted. That should be irrelevant to it. And Dylan Gabriel.
Well, it looked like to me when I watched the game Sunday, one of them went 7-10, the other went 4-16.
All right, let's get to it.
That's what I saw on Sunday. I don't know what game you were watching that's telling you when somebody looks better, they should be ahead of him on the depth chart. By that logic, Dylan Gabriel should be ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Did you not watch the game on Sunday?
I was there.
Okay.
I watched every bit of it.
All right.
So all I'll say this is, so from the beginning, you could argue, I could argue, if you want to make an argument that Dylan Gabriel got an unfair shot, I can make an argument he got a completely fair shot. He had 6 games and he looked horrible in all of them. So either way, you drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks. It was time to give the other one a chance. Whether Dylan Gabriel was concussed or not, it was absolutely the time to see the other kid.
Really? When you're up 16-6 to make a quarterback
16
change?
16-10.
16-10, whatever it was. When you're winning the ball game, that's the time
You're winning the ball game completely off your defense. We already covered that. And Dylan Gabriel failed to get you in the end zone when you're
I don't care why you're winning the game. If you're winning the game, you don't pull out the starting quarterback. That's not how it works.
There's plenty of teams that have done it before. I've seen it happen plenty of times before. I've seen it happen. So it could happen again. Now, whether he got hurt or not, whether they would have made the move, nobody will ever know. There's a lot of conspiracy theories floating around out there that Dylan Gabriel's not even concussed. I don't buy into that. I was at the game. He absolutely got slammed, and I'm pretty sure he's probably pretty badly concussed. He got
it looked like he got hit pretty hard.
He got slammed by 4 or 5 defenders, and he tried to run a read option. And it did not go well. Now, my point being with that, when Dylan Gabriel was the backup quarterback, he was taking some first-team reps. Shedeur Sanders never got that opportunity. So by that same account, I don't understand how they're treating this whole process fairly, because Shedeur Sanders openly admitted yesterday that was the first time he's ever completed a pass to Jerry Jeudy. At some point, if you're backup quarterbacks, and I know
we also saw quarterbacks like Kurt Warner and then Luke McCown actively speaking out about how they did not get first-team reps when they were the backup quarterback.
Cam Newton claims that when he had his MVP season, every single week, Derek Anderson would get reps. I think, to me, it makes sense if you can't treat one rookie differently from the other. When Dylan Gabriel is the backup, why was he getting first-team reps? And when Shedeur is the backup, why is he not? Because yesterday you have Wyatt Teller telling Daryl Ryder after the game that he has never heard Shedeur's cadence. He didn't know his snap count. It's actually amazing that the Browns didn't get like illegal formation penalties in the second half, considering that none of these guys had ever played with the guy. So to me,
yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I think you should go about the process having your backup quarterback get some first team reps, considering there's always the potential that he's going to get hurt and then the backup needs to throw to them. I completely understand that.
Yeah, so that to me, again, the Browns botched this process, and that's on the coaching staff. If Dylan Gabriel, when he was the backup,
I don't think the coaching staff wanted this whole circus to begin with. I think that's what you're seeing. I think the coaching staff's doing this almost to spite management and or ownership for even putting them in this spot.
Well, that again, then that's their problem for not being on the same page with the front office, because the problem is clearly somebody wanted Shedeur Sanders to be the backup, and clearly Kevin Stefanski did not. Kevin Stefanski he didn't even want to talk to him yesterday on the
Yeah, I heard about this clip, by the way. I heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I heard Carmen and Lima were talking about it this morning.
So Shedeur Sanders goes in for the game-winning drive. Usually, what's the head coach do? Usually talks to his quarterback before a game-winning drive or potential game-winning drive. Kevin Stefanski wouldn't even look at him. So, again, Kevin Stefanski clearly doesn't like Shedeur Sanders. I think it's pretty evident to me. And
I wouldn't either if my quarterback had that performance on Sunday.
Again, so I'm going to give you some reasons as to why he had this performance. Again, I told you, he never played with any of these guys. Dylan Gabriel.
Okay. Was your argument in the preseason when he had that horrible outing, was your reasoning not, well, he's not playing with the starters, you got to look at the competition around him, and now he's playing with the starters, and now that's a detriment to him?
And I actually I still would make the argument, and you're gonna hate this argument. He moved the ball better than Gabriel yesterday.
Give me a goddamn break.
No, he did.
He went 4-16. You're talking about one completion to Harold Fannin over the middle. That's what you're talking about. The other big time completion he had was like a 4-yard drag pattern to Jerry Jeudy that Jerry Jeudy actually busted his ass, made a few guys miss, and then completed it. You know, you guys are constantly booing the check down Dylan Gabriel, check down, he can't move. And then the first two completions for Shedeur Sanders are 5-yard hitch patterns, and the place is going nuts. And you're talking about you can't treat one guy like the other?
Again, I also say this. The throw he made to Harold Fannin, whether you want to admit it or not, was better than any pass Dylan Gabriel's thrown all season.
How about that pick he threw? Where there was no Brown in the vicinity.
I can't.
Okay, so why are we picking and choosing? Well, this was the guy went 4-16 from the field, and you're defending his performance. This is ridiculous. The Albatross didn't perform like this.
Okay, I understand that. Deshaun Watson was also, according to everybody who tells me, was a top 5 quarterback. He wasn't a 5th-round pick. There's a difference.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Were you the same guy not saying that he's a first-round talent, and now it's, he was a 5th-round pick? If you're a first-round talent, be a first-round talent.
All right. Well, again, I still think that he moved the ball better than Gabriel did. He made throws.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. If he moved the ball better, he had one. What was it, a 15-yard pass to Harold Fannin?
It was a 30-yard pass. Gabriel's
20
longest
yards?
pass of the season was 20 yards. He can't get the throw that Shedeur Sanders made.
So you'd rather have one 30-yard completion on a 4-16 performance than go 7-10?
I'd also rather have a chance to win the game. And he gave them
He didn't score a point, and he played in a whole half.
Again, he can't control.
You want a chance to win the game. He didn't score a single point.
He can't control if the receiver dropped the ball in the end zone. How's that his fault? He can't control that.
Talking about Larvadane?
Yes.
That's a tough play. Let's not act like that's an easy.
Okay.
Let's not act like that's an easy play.
He took a shot downfield. He evaded the pressure perfectly. Rolled out to his left. Made a throw, and the receiver didn't catch it. Now, again, I will admit it was not a good performance, but there were still glimmers of hope that I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel, and I want it.
I think that's hysterical. I think you saw firsthand on Sunday why Gabriel is still playing and he's not.
And then again,
he didn't do anything in the structure of the offense at all on Sunday, and that's why he was 4-16. He's still dancing around back there. I'll say he made a nice play on that 3rd and 3, that scramble play he had for 4 or 5 yards. That was a nice play to extend the drive, absolutely. But I mean, we're talking about a 4-16 performance, and that there's glimmers of hope. And his biggest play of the day was an interception.
No, his biggest play of the day was absolutely a pass to Fannin, something that they haven't done in weeks. They haven't had a 30-yard pass in weeks.
Also haven't had a quarterback throw for under 30% completion percentage. Maybe since I can't even remember, actually.
Well, I think Watson did once. He was like 13 of 35. But either way, again, and I will say, he should. The one thing that I'll crucify him for is the Bond play was wide open. He have to make that throw. And I criticized the same exact throw that Gabriel made a few weeks ago. He had Jeudy on probably the very similar pattern. He didn't make the throw, and neither did Shedeur on that. But I think I saw enough that I want to start him the rest of the year. Yes, he was not good.
Weren't you the same person that 2 weeks ago said it doesn't matter where you're at, you got to try to win games, and you want to throw out the guy that just went 4-16, threw an interception, 42 yards?
Because they have a better chance to move the football. I think the offense will be better under him. This offense under Gabriel cannot move the football. It can't. He had it at the 6-yard line. He couldn't get in the end zone yesterday.
Shedeur Sanders had the ball for the whole half, dude, and he didn't score a single point. Like this argument that this offense is in a better spot with him, and just looking at the numbers, they're clearly not.
Well, I mean, again, you're not going to change my mind on it. I think the offense moves better.
I think that's dude, come on. Based off of one big play to Harold Fannin, do you think the offense moves better? Every other pass he completed was within like 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. The same thing that this entire fan base has been ripping Dillon Gabriel apart for.
Yeah. I mean, again, now I'm not going to judge him off. Once he has the same amount of time as Dillon Gabriel, then we can truly make a fair comparison, because one guy's had 6 games, one guy's had a half.
I'll pick any of those Dillon Gabriel games over what Shedeur Sanders did in the second half.
You haven't seen as much. You haven't seen him.
I'll take any individual half performance from Dillon Gabriel that you want to pick over the last 6 games. Okay. And I'll take it over Shedeur Sanders.
I disagree entirely.
If you got one half of football against one half of football to get an even comparison, I'll take any half.
Again, I don't understand how that you're judging him off. Dillon Gabriel's had 6 games. He hasn't done anything. This guy's had a half. And Dillon Gabriel.
So I said pick any half.
Dillon Gabriel's had ample more opportunity. And this guy, you're basically saying you don't want him the rest of the year off of one half of football.
I'm not saying that I don't want him the rest of the year. I just think it's absurd to say that his performance on Sunday inspired you at all, which is the argument that you're making. There's nothing in there besides one completion to Harold Fannin that's like, oh, okay, like there's something there.
Yeah, an NFL throw in which Gabriel can't make. It does inspire me. I haven't seen it.
I have 12 other passes of his that say differently.
Again, I'm not saying. Listen, he was out there. It was a tough situation for him to be in. And I thought, yeah, he did play like crap, okay? The interception was terrible. He did take 2 terrible sacks. I'm not going to sit here and say it was fantastic. It was wonderful, but it gave me enough glimmers of hope that I want to see more of what he's got. I've seen enough of Dillon Gabriel to know that I think Shedeur's upside is insanely higher for the rest of the year. And I think they have a better chance to win games moving forward if Shedeur Sanders has a full week of practice and actually gets reps. But, if Gabriel ends up being the backup quarterback, he'll probably take half the reps anyway because they refuse to give Shedeur Sanders reps.
You think if Dillon Gabriel was the backup quarterback that he would receive, if he was the backup quarterback that he'd receive reps? Is that what you were saying?
I think he'd get half the reps anyway. Yeah, because they don't seem to
want.
If
Shedeur was named the starting quarterback?
Yeah, because they don't seem to want to give Shedeur Sanders reps, because when Flacco was quarterback, he said...
Can you name any other instance that we have been begging for reps for a 5th rounder ever?
Because you're the one who said he's a first-round talent.
No, I was imitating what you had said weeks ago about him being a first-round talent, because back then it was you got a first-round talent in the 5th round, and now you're saying, well, we got to take it easy. He's a 5th rounder. Which is it?
Well, to me, it's no matter what. I don't understand how a backup quarterback who's a rookie doesn't get any reps. That's coaching malpractice.
Sure. Listen, I also just said if I was running a team, I would always designate like 5 to 10% of my snaps minimum of first-team offense to my backup quarterback just in case.
Right. So, again, Gabriel's had ample opportunity. This organization has tried its best to make something out of Gabriel. It has not worked. So I think you move to the other guy. I think it's way overdue. It's way over time. And either way, we'll see this week, because quarterbacks...
I can't imagine that Gabriel's going to be... Everything that I've read says that Gabriel's not going to clear protocol. So, I mean, I am thinking right now, and again, housekeeping, we are recording Monday evening, so unless that changes, I do envision us going to Shedeur's first start.
Right. And we'll be there, and we're going to produce some live content from it. Kevin will be angry. I'll be happy. And, that'll be the way it go. But either way, again, I think it will be... Now, listen. Again, I have been stressing that I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be good for almost as long as we've been recording this show. So I'm not going to completely wipe it off the table that he has a chance to be good after one half of football. I would like to see how things look this week when, maybe he can throw his second ball ever to Jerry Jeudy, or he can work and maybe Wyatt Teller knows Shedeur Sanders' cadence in the snap count. I'd like to see that. Now, then I think it's a fair time to evaluate him. I think to just completely crush him after one half, in which he was not good, but when the push came to shove on the final drive, he was able to move the ball. So that's where
when the Ravens went into prevent defense?
No.
And they didn't want to give up a big play. He started moving. He started getting some chunk plays going.
I don't think they were running a prevent defense. I was there.
They were running a loose zone for sure.
That I disagree with that. Now,
okay,
that they were running a prevent defense. Now, I will say that on the last play of the game, apparently the television broadcast refused to show it. They showed it in the stadium 5 times. Wyatt Teller was having a conniption. I guess they showed that on TV.
Yeah, I saw that on TV. I genuinely thought it was due to like a flag that might have happened during the play, like an illegal hands to the face or something like that he wanted the official to call, but apparently it was not.
Yeah, so it was offsides on the Ravens. The guy who got offsides was the one who got into Shedeur's face and forced the quick pass to Njoku, which ultimately got deflected by Roquan Smith, and the game was effectively over. But the guy was offsides. Teller and the guy jotted each other a little bit. The officials separated them. He was mad about that one. And I was too. But I can't completely criticize it on the officials. And I will say, again, you keep going to Shedeur Sanders didn't score any points. Both of the quarterbacks are 50-50 equally at fault. They didn't score an offensive touchdown in 60 minutes of football. They each played a half. They share 50-50 in that, in my opinion.
I'm telling you, dude, I think if Shedeur Sanders went 7-10 and Dylan Gabriel went 4-16 and they lose, you're putting 90% of the game on Dylan Gabriel.
No, I think it's 50-50.
I think you do now because that's not the case.
Well, because
no matter how you've been able to spin it this year, whenever the losses have come, you've tried to spin it that it's Gabriel's fault just about every time.
A lot of them have been. How could you not blame him?
I think it's just the offense in general. We've seen receivers drop passes. We've seen the offensive line play not be that great, which coincidentally is now, I feel like, just being like a widespread brought up thing amongst this fan base now. I know we've talked about the tackles being bad, but when Joe Flacco was in at quarterback, it was, he's a statue. We need somebody that can move. When Gabriel's in there, it's, he can move better than Flacco, but we still need somebody who can move better. And now Shedeur Sanders is in there getting blown up, and now it's, the offensive line's bad.
I
like, why is there a constant switch in these? No, I'm not.
I didn't say that.
I'm talking about the Browns fan base in general.
Oh, okay. I thought you were accusing me of saying that. Because I was saying I didn't say that.
No, I'm talking about the Browns fan base in general. If you're an avid Browns fan and actually follow the social medias or a lot of the accounts that come up that are Browns affiliated, that are very much into talking Browns throughout the games and stuff, that's all the narrative's ever been.
Well, it couldn't be that long. He only played a half.
Well, no, I'm saying no, but that's been his whole thing even during college, was that it was bad offensive line play for the sacks. Now he's back in the NFL. We didn't hear about when Flacco was back there getting sacked, it was because he couldn't move. When Gabriel was getting hit, it was because he wasn't as mobile enough, and now Sanders is back there getting hit. Now it's, now there's an offensive line problem. My whole thing is that you've blamed it on the quarterback each time the sacks have been taken up until now. And yes, it's a small sample size. It's only a half. I've been seeing this defense for him for the last 2-3 years, ever since he started playing at Colorado.
Since he transferred from Jackson,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I will say he was sacked twice yesterday. One was absolutely his fault, 100%. He spun back around and spun right into it. The other one was the Ravens brought basically a zero blitz, and it was a clear passing down for the Browns, and he didn't have a chance. That one I'm not going to put on him, because even my brother, who I was watching the game with, and he's no Shedeur Sanders huge apologist or fan like I am. He said, basically goes, that kid didn't have a chance there. So, but one, was absolutely, he took 2 of them. But again, I go back to, the fact that he moved the ball better. They didn't get a first down until Shedeur Sanders came in the game. On third down, they did not have a third down conversion until Shedeur Sanders came in the game. So I keep going to that he moved the ball better, which
He also didn't have a turnover.
you keep debunking, but it's true. It's factual. The stats prove it.
That he moved the ball better?
Yes.
I look at Jerome. I don't care what it says yards and that he had a big play to his tight end for 1 out of his 4 completions. He did not complete the ball 12 out of 16 times. You're never going to be able to convince me that that's good for the team, or that that's better for the team, I should say.
Again, I'm not saying that I think he had some outstanding performance.
You're saying he moved the ball better.
I'm just saying I thought there was a couple glimmers of hope in which he showed. I thought, again, there's things that he did that Dylan Gabriel simply can't do in an NFL game. The two that come to mind, the throw to Fannin, Gabriel can't do that. Hasn't done it. If he can, hasn't shown it.
He's had a couple decent throws actually over the middle. Judy's actually been the receiving end typically, and he had a nice little over the middle throw to David Njoku for one of his touchdowns earlier this year.
Ironically, I did think Dylan Gabriel had his best throw of the year yesterday. There was a seam route to Cedric Tillman that went for 22 yards, and it was because they actually put it was his longest career passing play. And I thought it was a good throw. But then I thought Sanders threw the ball deep to Laverde, and I thought he put it in a good position where his guy could get it. It was a tough ball to get, but at that point, the Browns had decided they were going to take shots at the end zone, which they just haven't done with Dylan Gabriel. So I don't know if he doesn't have the arm strength or what, but they have not done that. And again,
they've taken shots to the end zone with Gabriel.
Not that deep. But again, I think
the one to Larverdane was like 20, 25 yards.
But I think to the one to Bond, Sanders has to make that throw. His guy broke open. That one, I think you can make the argument. There were two, I keep bringing up, there were 2 really great throws in my opinion. Then I thought there were 2 really bad ones. The interception, I don't know if it was a complete miscommunication or what. I mean, he got walloped on it, and I think he just wanted to get rid of the ball, basically, and it's still no excuse. You got to throw it away in that position. He threw it right to Nate Wiggins. I mean, that was a horrid throw. There's no defense of that. He got walloped. I want to say Conklin got completely abused on that play. And, I mean, honestly, in fact, the guy behind me goes, who are they going to go to now? Shador might be concussed because he took a beating on that play. And the other awful throw was the one to Bond. You have to hit that. Your guy's wide open in the end zone. You hit that right there. Even you are probably spitting this, or even you are probably looking at his second half with a lot more positivity than you did. But he didn't hit it, and that's inexcusable.
Yeah, would have been 5 of 16.
So, yeah. I mean, this was your heaven yesterday because you have hated this guy. So for you to see it,
I don't know if I'd call it heaven because I never wanted to see him actually step foot on the field.
You said last week it was time.
Yeah.
You said it was time.
I wanted a quarterback change, but hey, I told you that this was going to happen with him.
Yeah, I still...
He holds on to the ball too long.
I still kind of wish that it was just a natural change and it didn't have to come on injury. I wish that
you said all he needs is a chance. I believe that was maybe your exact quote.
I think, well, I want to see him with the chance that Dylan Gabriel got, and then we can compare him head to head.
Well, if he's as good as Gabriel, then he would have gotten that chance, but now he has to wait until he's injured.
He wasn't ever as good as, or he was all.
Oh
no! You know I misspoke. Gabriel was never as good as him. Never was. Ask anybody who covered the team; they'll tell you. Ask anybody not named Kevin Stefanski; they'll tell you. Ask Garrett Bush, who said he had veteran players.
Jerome, I really think if this guy's name was like Samuel Smith, nobody would really care at all. But it's Shedeur Sanders. He's Deion Sanders' son. I think you'd be like, this guy was horrible on Sunday. I don't know why they wasted a 5th on him.
I'm not going to do that even after Gabriel.
You would have done that for any other quarterback, I promise you.
No.
I've watched plenty of Browns games with you before. I've talked a lot of Browns with you before. I know how you are with this stuff, man.
I don't think I would have.
Okay.
Again, I'm still holding out hope that they ideally, and I've said this time and time again on this podcast, and I'll continue to say it, they need him almost to be the guy. They don't have any. they don't. The quarterbacks next year, the crop looks like crap for the most part.
Fernando Mendoza looks unbelievable. I don't know what you're talking about.
I said the crop, meaning the general group of them. So the team at the top is going to get Mendoza, and everybody else is going to be FUCKED'd.
Or SOL.
Yeah, thanks for putting it more mannerly. But it's true. And here's the thing. I want to see, you know what I want to see Mendoza show up? Let's see how he does in the playoffs. Let's see what he does there. Let's see how he does against the Ohio State defense. That's an NFL caliber defense called by an NFL defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. Let's see what he does.
Okay, I mean, listen, there are quarterbacks that have not played at prestigious universities that have gone up against amazing talent week in and week out that have worked out. I think Josh Allen's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. So I mean,
but I'm curious to see Mendoza, what he does against the good or the better teams, because everybody keeps telling me he's the guy, but is he actually the guy, or is he just the best of a crappy bunch?
I think he's a stud, honestly.
Like you think if, and this is a serious question, you think if it was, what was considered a great quarterback class?
2018? Baker, Allen, Jackson, Darnold.
I was going to go to that one in my mind. Let's say Mendoza's in 2018. Is he even a first rounder?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Baker Mayfield wasn't looked at as like a first round pick in that draft up until probably January of that year.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what Mendoza does the rest of the way. Ideally, the Browns, like I said, their best case scenario moving forward would be having Shedeur Sanders be the guy, because then the team needs an infiltration of talent. So then you can use your first on a tackle and let's say maybe a wide receiver. And it just works out better for everybody if he's the guy, and including even you. It works out fantastic for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think if either of these quarterbacks, Gabriel or Sanders, end up being the guy, then it works out because you've already got the quarterback. You don't have to waste another draft pick on one, and you've got a young one that's on a rookie deal. Saves you from the albatross contract. And in this hypothetical, obviously, yes, but neither of them are the guy. So...
yeah, I mean, I've rolled out Gabriel. I haven't rolled out Sanders, and that's how I feel. Like I said, once the reason I want him, we'll see again. He'll have this week, and then if he plays well and wins against the Raiders in Vegas, then I think you move forward with him. Where would you do? Hypothetically, Shedeur Sanders wins the game against the Raiders. Are you moving forward, or are you going back to Gabriel?
I think it depends on how he performs.
Okay.
I think it depends on how he performs.
But you just told me you would never change quarterbacks if they were winning, so...
yeah, well, that's also due to injury.
I gave you the hypothetical of Dylan Gabriel. If he wasn't hurt, I would have changed quarterbacks. You told me you'd never change them if they won. You wouldn't have changed it if Gabriel was winning at halftime. There's no way.
I know, I just said due to an injury, though. Like, a backup quarterback has come in before due to an injury, won a couple games, and the starter's gotten the job back.
Dylan Gabriel's not a starting quarterback by anyone's metric.
What are you talking about? Did he not start the last 6 games?
Okay,
The Browns announced
he's the Browns starting quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah,
you're talking about like a somebody coming in for like a Tom Brady kind of deal where, if they win a couple games, well, yeah, it's obviously Tom's job. Or if Mahomes hypothetically.
No, but I'm saying just as a starting. I don't know why you're being so defensive about this right now. There's nothing to be so worked up into a shoot about. Seriously, all I'm saying is that when the starting quarterback gets injured and the backup wins a game or two, you don't always have to stick with the backup. That's all I'm saying.
I think in this case you do, because let's say hypothetically he wins the game on Sunday. The starters.
Yeah, but how did he win the game? Was it the same reason that you wanted to bench Dylan Gabriel at the end of the first half?
In the sense of the offense.
In the sense of that the offense didn't do anything, but they were still winning?
Yeah, I guess, okay, if the Browns win the game 9-6, and then maybe you do go back to Dylan Gabriel. But I think it depends how he looks overall.
I mean, yeah, if Shedeur Sanders goes out there on Sunday, Jerome, and throws for, 65%, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, then you continue with him, because we haven't seen that quarterback play really at all this year.
No.
Outside of Flacco week 1.
No, you haven't. You haven't seen it whatsoever. So, no, I think, Gabriel got his shot. you drafted 2 quarterbacks. The owner himself said he wanted to see both of them play. So for me, from here on out, at the end of the day, what you or me or anybody else thinks really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter whatsoever. What Kevin Stefanski thinks doesn't really matter whatsoever.
I'd rather see Zappy.
It all matters. Oh, shut up. Give me a break. Give me a break. You make me sick. You'd rather see Zappy. Anyway, it doesn't matter what any of us think. It matters what Jimmy Haslam thinks. And if he wants to see both quarterbacks, then guess what? Shedeur Sanders is playing the rest of the way. That's the way I think. Yeah, I want it myself.
How do you think he's genuinely going to play in Vegas on Sunday?
I think he'll be better. I think he'll be much.
But you can't really, honest to God, and I'm not saying this is a slight. You legitimately can't really get worse.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Again, I'm not saying he was good.
I understand, but I'm saying you're saying that he's going to be better, and I'm just saying.
I think
he obviously.
I think you'll
will
see.
Be.
Probably. Let's say I think he'll throw for a touchdown. I think he probably does throw for an interception. I think he probably throws for around 200 yards. Probably, they're not going to pass that. I'm going to say 18 of 28, 200 yards, touchdown and interception.
All right, I'm going to say he throws for $150, a touchdown and 2 picks.
Okay. All right.
I think that's, and I don't think that's me sipping the haterade either. I think that's just he's a 5th round rookie quarterback in his first start.
Yeah. Well, first round talent.
That's what you said. Yeah. So you got to hold him to that then.
I will. And I listen, there will come a day, either one way or the other. I'm either going to be.
I mean, there's no in between on this, right? Like Shedeur Sanders isn't just going to be like a consistent journeyman starting quarterback like a Jacoby Brissett.
I don't see that either. I did say this, and you and I have actually both had this conversation. Obviously, if you've listened to the last 46 minutes, you know we see it completely different ways. Shedeur Sanders is either going to be a multi-time Pro Bowler or he's going to be out of this league, hanging out, being an assistant for Dion in a couple years.
I think there's a legitimate shot. This is the only year that he's a Cleveland Brown. I think that there's a shot of that. And I'm just saying, if they move on and they draft a quarterback in the first round, I think there's going to be an uproar between the Sanders. Whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Dion, they're going to want to get him out of here. The Browns aren't going to want to deal with it. He might end up ruining his own NFL career over it if it ends up going like that. But I think there's a shot that you only see him in Cleveland for 1 year.
Okay. I will say this, as much as everybody says that, he's, I've heard from a lot of people and a lot of his haters and detractors that he's a diva, he's this, he's that. I thought yesterday, he went up there and, yeah, he mentioned about how he hasn't played with those guys at all, but he also did say, they asked him straight up, how do you think you played? He said, I don't think I played good. I don't think I played good at all. He goes, and he's like, it's a very tough position to play. He goes, there's no excuses. I wasn't good enough. And, he owned it that he wasn't good. And, for all I hear is he's all about himself. He's a me guy. He's this, he's that. Thought he did a good job yesterday.
He also said something along the lines of, well, maybe I can get some more reps with Jerry and all them or whatever, like pretty much slighting the coaching staff too. So,
well, yeah, I don't disagree with him.
He's a 5th round rookie, dude. You shouldn't be doing that. Slighting the coaches and shit.
Again, I told you this. Gabriel's gotten that chance. He should get that chance too.
Okay, but where does this like entitlement come from where you can talk about whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want? Like why, like what, where does that stem from? I mean, obviously it stems from being the son of Deion Sanders, but like when has any 5th round pick ever acted like that? I don't care what opportunity you're given. It's you're given cards, deal with them. Stop complaining and stop making stupid ass comments and just go out there and try to play good football. Like, why is it so hard to shut your mouth? And even when he was staying silent, he was miming.
Well, no, what did you want him to say yesterday? They asked him, did you want him to lie? They asked him straight up. One of the questions was that your first time with the ones? He said, yeah, I've never thrown a ball to Jerry Jeudy before in my life. What did you want him to do? Say, yeah, I've been.
No, he later said in that press conference, something along the lines of, well, maybe I'll get more reps with those guys so I can actually
Well, that's because they asked him if he's going to be the starter this week, and well, the other thing that I will give him credit for, and I was a part of this, and he was talking to people like me.
Yeah, I know what you're about to say, and I thought it was a good comment too.
Yeah, it was very classy. It was very, very classy.
Yeah.
And if for those of you who didn't hear it, before he said anything, he came into the media room and said, I don't think, booing Dylan is good for anybody. I don't think it's good for our team. He's like, I appreciate the love and seeing all the 12 jerseys out there. He goes, but just because you want me to be in there, he goes, doesn't mean you have to undermine Dylan. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's
no, I know, and I did. I thought it was a very nice comment from Shedeur.
Wow, you complimented him.
He did something right on Sunday. Can you believe that?
Oh God, you make me sick with this.
Oh, same. It makes me sick talking about it. I do think it's funny because last week we came into the studio, and I remember we sat down, and you're like, "Well, we got to talk about whether we should keep it with Dylan or." And I go. The only thing I've heard this week is about the quarterbacks. I don't want to talk about them really at all because I'm so sick of hearing about it. And you were respectful. We talked about it for maybe 2 minutes, and that was it. And then we had basically no choice but to make an entire episode dedicated to this because it was kind of that eventful. I was telling you on the way to the studio today, I had got the notification right before they had come back from commercial break of halftime to see Shedeur put the helmet on, and I got the notification that the Browns were going to be turning to Shedeur Sanders, and I literally looked at my phone and I went, "Oh my God!" And looked at I was at a bar in Strongsville with some friends, Robbie, Brenna, Josh, and Dana, and I looked at Josh and Robbie and I just said, "It's time. They're bringing him in." And it was one of those two where even though I didn't want to see it, I've been very vocal about that, about not wanting to see him. I couldn't help but just smile at the moment because we've been talking about this since basically he was drafted. When is he going to play? And at what point this year is he going to play? Because we knew it was going to happen this year, right? I mean, we've been talking about this since late April.
27th or whatever?
Since late April. We'll just say late April. Like one of the last days in April, we've absolutely been talking about when this moment was going to happen. And we're finally here almost 7 months later. And it is what it was. We obviously just harped on it for the last basically 45 minutes probably. We harped on it a lot, no matter how you stand. It was an eventful, exciting watch, regardless, because we just knew what was happening.
So, can I tell you one of the funniest elements of this whole thing yesterday? And this is a good, lighthearted, funny story about this whole thing. So,
okay,
I'll start by saying I was in the bathroom yesterday at the Browns game, and you're walking around the concourse at halftime, and the entire stadium is, are they going to do it? Are they, and nobody, I can honestly say, nobody around me except those 4 kids in front of me who were totally speculating had any idea that Dylan Gabriel had a concussion in that stadium. Nobody knew, at least around my section, my seats, my folks who I sit with all the time. And so the Browns, the Ravens punt the ball and the Browns return it. And obviously he takes that step on that field. And I can honestly tell you, I remember you being there with you for this. I haven't heard an uproar for a Browns quarterback take the field like that since number 6. And
Cody Kessler.
No. He plays
Baker, obviously. Yeah. That was a magical moment.
Yes, when he took that field.
Yeah,
it was. And ironically,
you could feel the magic. Dude, there was something about that night. There was something in that stadium, seriously. There was an energy in there that was like unmatched. And
obviously Shedeur didn't, we've talked about it forever now. He didn't light it up like that, but when he took it was comparable to that moment. And ironically, both the starters were quarterbacks who nobody wanted to see, and they both got hurt. There was some
one was ready for the moment, the other wasn't.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give you that. And so I looked down at my phone and I hear this uproar like I hadn't heard in that stadium since the opener this year. And I look up and I see a 12 jersey and the orange helmet and the chin strap finishing up. And obviously, again, if you follow this podcast, you know that I shot out of my seat like a Pop-Tart out of a toaster on a Sunday morning breakfast. And
that's a comparison.
I was very happy. I was cheering very loudly and ecstatically. And shout out to the guy who sits next to us all the time, Jason, wonderful guy. And he also had looked down on his phone and he goes, oh, they didn't move the ball up for the block in the back. And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, oh, that big ovation. I thought there was a block in the back. And then he looks up and he goes, oh, he's in. And it was hysterical because he didn't realize what the ovation was for. He thought it was for a penalty.
Yeah.
And there it was, Shedeur Sanders. And I can honestly say, I've been going to Browns games for years, just like you. I don't ever remember a 3-yard out route having such an ovation.
That goes back to my point earlier, though. You guys were booing the checkdowns, and his first completion was a little 5-yard hitch pattern or out route to Cedric Tillman. And the place just goes nuts. Like, come on.
And
no, I don't. No, seriously,
no,
I don't.
You don't get it.
I don't. I don't get it. I won't get it.
And I can honestly say this. Cedric Tillman played pretty well yesterday, I thought. I think he actually ended up with like 3 catches for...
Yeah, I thought Tillman played a decent game.
And honestly, Tillman's hands might be better than Jeudy. And
maybe Jerry Jeudy, for being like quote unquote our best receiver, might have our worst hands. I'm being serious.
By the way, I know you definitely spotted it, and credit to him because he ended up making a great play and fought every bit for that first down. But he almost dropped that pass from 12. He bobbled that for a second.
Yeah, always does. There's never a catch that Jerry Jeudy makes.
You caught that yesterday, didn't you?
Of course.
I go, oh my God, he dropped. Oh my God, he dropped. And then next thing you know, he's. And one thing that I could say, we've criticized Kevin Stefanski extensively on this podcast, but I'd also say justly. And one thing I'll say, this team has not quit on him in the slightest. You saw the way they fought yesterday, the way that they triumphantly pushed Devin Bush in the end zone, the way Jerry Jeudy fought tooth and nail to get that first down, the way Quinshon Judkins fights with 10 guys in the box. This team is far from quit on this coach. And
yeah, so where does that leave you with where you want this regime? This is something that we've really talked about since like probably week 4, week 5, I would say, where we've really, really been talking about, is this going to be their last year? Where do you stand with it now? Because I feel like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it was like, they got to get this regime out of here, specifically with the loss to the Jets. That was when I had it, and I had said, fire everyone, turn around this regime. And I thought that game was honestly symbolic of just where the team was in general. No quit. You had 2 weeks to prepare for the worst team in football. And
I know they didn't win yesterday. I thought as a team they played a significantly better game.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. And then you come in this week. I know the Ravens haven't been great this year. They've obviously been dealing with injuries. Lamar has missed some games, but this is a team that since 2018 has been a consistent playoff team, and people have looked at as a potential Super Bowl contender. And you play them that tough, and you really lose off of a fake tush push.
Yeah, you lose off of like a reinvent the wheel of the tush push, which nobody else has done yet. Now, I guarantee you every defensive coordinator on all 32 teams is going to have some corner outside containing on that. They're going to have 10 guys in that line now because the Ravens did it.
Even if you have a corner on that side, like, you're almost still at a disadvantage if it's Mark Andrews sprinting full force at you, 6'5", 240 pounds, and you're a 5'11" corner.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what they're like. Teams, it's a copycat league, right? And that reminds me to go back my very first days watching the NFL, like 04, 05, when I was just a young, whippersnapper.
Young lad.
And you have the Miami Dolphins do the Wildcat with Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. Everybody's doing the Wildcat then. There's going to be some team that's going to do some convoluted.
The Browns never really, when we had Chubb and Hunt, they didn't execute a Wildcat like they could have potentially done with those two.
I didn't think so either. I actually thought yesterday I wouldn't have minded because they did it against the Dolphins and they haven't done it since. I wouldn't mind a little Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson Wildcat again.
Dude, neither would I. I've been wondering. And by the way, Dylan Sampson had like a really good run yesterday and then proceeded to never touch the ball again.
Yeah, he had a 23-yard carry.
Like, and then never touched That's the one thing I've noticed too, and that whether that's on Tommy Reese or Stefanski, I'm sure they both have a hand in it. Honestly, like, can we let some of these players get into a rhythm? Like, if Samson, like, obviously they were stacking the box for Judkins, I would too if I was facing the Browns. That's like the only we've talked about glimmers of hope. That's the real only glimmer of hope playmaker wise on the team right now on offense.
Well, I'd say Fannin.
Okay, that's fair. Fannin, and then obviously Samson's been playing well, but like consistent focal point of the offense type of player. That inspires you some hope. So he obviously is facing a lot of 8-man boxes. If you get Samson,
10.
Okay, you understand the point. They're stacking the box, yeah. But and then Dylan Sampson, has a nice 20-yard scamper. Like, you're not going to continue to see, hey, maybe there's something here that Judkins doesn't have this game. Like, it's okay for that to be the case.
Right.
Like, Judkins does not have to be the bell cow if it's not producing yards. And you want to keep them in and out because they do kind of offset each other. They're different paces of backs, which is nice.
I'd also like to see. I'm convinced that Jerome Ford is literally on this roster for 2-minute pass protection because, like, he does not.
I said that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you're right. Like, he does not. Like, I don't recall you saying that, but I believe you.
No, because I said I don't want us to be so. Because I should say this was after week 2, that I didn't want us to be so predictive because you could tell whenever Quinshon Judkins was on the field, it was a run up the gut. When Samson was, it was a pass. And then when Ford was, it was a pass, but he was into pass block. Like, Samson was into run a route. Like, you can tell what the Browns are doing based off of who is in the backfield just about every play.
Yeah, because even yesterday I thought, like, okay, whether it was either one of the quarterbacks, like Jerome Ford, I don't recall seeing the field, or then they go into a 2-minute drill, whether it was with quarterback 8 or 12, and Jerome Ford comes in there and you're like, oh yeah, they're passing. Like,
and he's not running a route.
And also, this is just a me personal thing. I thought Tommy Reese called an okay game yesterday. Like,
it was fine.
I didn't have an issue with it. The only thing I dislike is, like, I hate how much the Browns go empty. They go empty too much for my liking.
Yeah, especially for not having good, consistent quarterback play.
Right. Yeah.
Like, don't you want a running back there with you so that the defense has to respect that, because that is really the only consistency in your offense?
Well, like, I can honestly say this. There were points yesterday where my brother, myself, and Jason, who, we sit next to, I brought up earlier, and we are literally, all three of us are counting the men in the box, and we're like, they don't respect Dylan Gabriel, not a lick. And, like, literally, whoever the free safety was literally where the linebacker would be, and everybody else is, like, within 6 or 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, and you're like, oh boy, like,
yeah.
Poor Quinshon. And I thought yesterday, and I know he only ended up with 59 yards. Trust me, he ruined my Browns player prop parlay, but I had him 60 plus over. He finished for 59. But I can't believe, like, the amount of times that I sit there in my seat this year, or in Foxborough, or we'll be in Vegas next week, and you watch and you're like, there's no chance he has to make anything out of this. And then somehow he gets to the initial line and then ends up with 15 or 20 yards. And you're like, what the?
There was a move he made on a New York Jet last week that it should have been a 2-yard loss. And I think he had a 3-yard gain, but it was, like, extremely impressive.
There was one
that 5-yard shift
there was one particular one yesterday that I was thinking, oh boy, he just lost 3. And then next thing you know, it was a 15-yard run and a first down. And I want to say it was in the first quarter. But I know people keep saying, well, his yards per carry isn't that good. But it's like,
it actually still isn't bad. He had a bad yards per carry yesterday, or Sunday.
Yeah.
I think he was just under 4. I want to say it was like 3.8.
Yeah, he had 17 for 59. So, but I can't fault the kid at all. I think if you have a semblance of a passing game, and then you're not dealing with that.
Oh, 100%.
But back to where we initially got to, where am I with this regime? I think it depends how the rest of the year goes. Like, I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think Jimmy and Dee have made their decision yet.
I don't think they have either.
I would still probably be in favor of them going. I wonder even with like all the conspiracy theories that came with Shedeur Sanders playing yesterday, like, oh well,
I think he went out there genuinely due to a Dylan Gabriel injury.
I do too. I will genuinely say that. I watched that play in person. Dylan Gabriel got his ass handed to him on that play. And I genuinely think it was due to injury too. And I truly don't think that the coaching staff does like Shedeur Sanders, like some of them at least.
Yeah, I don't either.
Now, I do know the quarterback's coach does. And I know because I was Deion's guy, that's Bill Musgrave. Deion played with him in college, played with him in the pros. There's a connection there. And that's why I do think there was a part of Deion that wanted Shedeur to come here.
Yeah, I do too.
Because of that Musgrave connection.
Well, they were relatively, not even necessarily the Musgrave connection. There was like, Shedeur Sanders had made a few comments about the Cleveland Browns before the draft had started. He said he only played with them in Madden because he liked the way they moved.
Yeah.
I don't know what that really means. I mean, I do, but I don't, because like if you watched last year's Browns team, there was really nothing to like.
Yeah.
Like from the outside, like there were like from a Browns fan perspective, like yeah, like Jameis Winston was like we had some fun games watching him because of just the emotions of watching him play, but like there was nothing that screamed like yeah. The Browns are who I'm gonna be.
That's the NFL offense that I would just thrive in.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think there's a part of him that probably like why I do think not just Shedeur Sanders. I think this went all the way back to Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel before he went to the Barley House and did a bunch of cocaine. Like there's an intriguing part of coming here, which is I could be the guy because you hear nationally, our fan base is known nationally being for loyal is to a fault. And anybody who's the guy probably thinks, I mean, look,
I don't think you see that too much anymore, like with today's kids that are so like us growing up, and I would even say the generation like just below us. Like if you watch them, they are so like player driven. You see the kids in the Curry jerseys, the SGA jerseys, the Luka jerseys, the LeBron. Well, I should say the Kevin Durant jerseys. You know, they see all these players in these different jerseys that they watch these different teams.
That's true.
Like, I don't know if they, at this point, it's like, yeah, you know what? I want to go to Cleveland and try to save the Browns.
Well,
like, I don't think that's, I wouldn't say lost, but I don't think it's as common as you would have seen. Like, you saw Josh Allen basically begging the Browns to take him because he wanted to be the guy to turn the Browns around. Brady Quinn, very active before the draft about doing that. You know, you saw a bunch of these players want to be the guy. You are right about
that. That's a very valid point. So that leads me to believe you. Hypothetical question, because we'll never know. Then who the hell was the player that Shedeur Sanders just couldn't wait to play with?
It might have been Myles Garrett, man. Who knows? I hope it wasn't Nick Chubb because the poor guy never had the opportunity.
Oh, did you say poor guy about Shedeur?
Dylan Gabriel. Never got to play with Nick Chubb.
Stop it. I caught you on something and you didn't like it. All right. Well, that'll do it for our Shedeur special.
Yeah, it kind of was.
You know, I that was a good debate.
Yeah, it was. I thought we each held our own too.
Yeah, we have our points, and this is just something that with all 8 eyes in the room, we're never going to agree on. You know.
Yeah, 10 if you count producer Eric's eyes.
Yeah, but he just enjoys the debate between Shedeur. He cracked a couple smiles about it tonight. He doesn't have a side.
No, he doesn't have a side. He just likes the entertainment aspect of it.
So either way, that'll do it. We are gonna go ahead and, like I said, we'll give you guys some live content. We'll put on our social media channels from our trip to Shedeur's first start.
Sin City.
And, you know, I don't know if Kevin's going to want me to let the listeners know this, but Kevin has been saying off the air since every week we'd watch the Browns, or, you know, we haven't really watched them that much together. We've been, you know, I've been at all the home games. You've been to a couple, I think. And then, you know, I was out in Foxborough, whatever, what have you. We haven't watched the Browns that much together, but we usually have our
we have debriefs every Sunday.
We have our Sunday Browns recap. And what made this episode so special was we had not seen each other until we got here today.
Correct.
To the studio.
Yeah.
And
we had a little bit of banter playful banter because we knew what we were going to get ourselves into tonight.
We knew.
So we had about 5 minutes of playful banter, and then we jumped right into it.
I will say, selfishly, from a content point of view, I was super excited, obviously, because I'm a big Shore fan, to see him take the field yesterday. And then my first thought was, he's finally playing. Yay, I'm so happy. And then my second thought was, this is going to make for a hell of a CSR episode.
Yeah, I thought pretty much the same thing. I mean, like I said, when he came into the game, I couldn't help but just smile at what was happening. Like I just couldn't help but smile. But then I thought of like Jerome's probably going absolutely nuts in that stadium right now.
But so to the point is, every Sunday I would say to Kevin, we'd have our debriefs. I'd say, when am I going to see my guy? And he'd say, hold your P's and Q's, man. He goes, you're going to see him. And Kevin, for about the last month and a half, would say to me, when we make that trip to Vegas, I think that's when he's going to get his first start. I said
that's going to be his first start.
And
we'll see him in Vegas.
Here we are.
And it's pretty much, it's happening. Honest to Christ, dude, I wonder what the tickets are going to be going for now, actually. I haven't even looked.
Well, I almost think, and this is a little conspiracy, I think because I told you going in there yesterday, I saw the uptake in Sanders jerseys, the posters, the banners, and all this stuff. And at the last second, we all know the story last week. It was on the local news and everywhere else, Twitter, anywhere you could find it. Browns tickets were down to below what you can buy a can of dip for nowadays. I mean, they were $5. And they went up to right before the game. I looked yesterday just to see, and they were up to $25. And I thought to myself, I wonder if the uptick is because people think he's playing. That thought crossed my mind yesterday.
Very well could have been.
So, all right, well, that'll do it for us. Make sure to check out our live stuff from Vegas. Thanks, producer Derek. Nice new studio we're in here, and we appreciate it. That'll do it. Make sure to follow us on socials. Like I said, we'll have some stuff from Las Vegas for you. Probably Shore related, to be honest with you.
It's going to be Browns related, 100%.
So that'll be that. And you can follow us on the socials at CLE Sports Realm. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And then also this podcast is available free on YouTube. And then obviously if you're a subscriber to Spotify or Apple Music, that'll do it. Let us know, actually, our listening audience, where do you come out on? I'd like to know a couple of different things. And I think, Kevin, you would too, to gauge the pulse of the people. Who do you want as the Browns quarterback the rest of the year? And where are you with this regime? Will be my two questions I'd like to know from our fans. Let us know. And that'll be that. Have a great night, everybody. Go 12.
Go Browns.